excellence. I would say to enhance.
Enhance student democratic engagement.
Yep. Now, if we wanted to add words to it, I do like the phrase in the bottom right box of a strong, vibrant, inclusive democracy. And I do think there's an assumption work that enhancing student democratic engagement can lead to a more inclusive democracy. Now, you've got democratic and democracy in the same sentence there, which is problematic. Hey, Jen.
Hi. I listened to part of the last 5 minutes just for a little bit because I came back in to see if you guys ended early or whatever. And I'm looking at this picture, and this is why I love you.
I just hope you're not upset with me.
It's true. I'm totally genuine. I'm like, Karen, can you see why I was like, we have to talk to Abe?
Yeah, I was telling him too that what's really great about having a one-on-one conversation is that I can make all these changes and it's only Abe's input and I don't have somebody else going, no, put that over there. So I can feel free to mark up on the screen in a way that we can't when we've got 2 or 3 people reacting.
Yeah.
So so this is really awesome. Yes.
So fun.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, Jen, my comment on the top box was, thinking about using the phrase builds capacity rather than empowers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if achieving excellence is really what the vision is here as much as it is enhancing. But I think ultimately what All In is interested in is reflected in that bottom right box of creating a strong, vibrant, I added the word inclusive democracy. In inclusive democracy, as you know, is how SLSV has been describing it. So it just aligns it very well with that. That would be my comment to the top.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about that one, right? Because I'm with you there. I think our definition of strong and vibrant has inclusive in it, in that not if young people are and young people are more diverse and all those kinds of things. I think that depending on how we're using this, because part of our theory of change, which of course isn't in this picture, right, but is inherent in what we do, is that we want all campuses doing this work. And not all of them are as liberal leaning in terms of thinking inclusivity and all these other things belong in democracy.
Yeah,
so
I know.
How do you frame the work that when we're talking about it, I can say that part of being a strong and vibrant democracy means that more young people are participating, not only because they're underrepresented age-wise, but because they are the future of what our country looks like in terms of being more racially, diverse. And how do you move it as strong and vibrant, because people who might not politically agree with me are still going to think that's important and are going to define it in their own way.
Is there a concern that the phrase inclusive is left-leaning?
I think it shouldn't be, but I think sometimes.
Yeah, I know. I agree it shouldn't be. I mean, some people think voter registration is left-leaning, right?
I know. I mean, the fact that we talk about democratic engagement and civic and political engagement freaks enough people out, right? So I'm not saying. I'm glad you said it. For me, it goes back and forth between are you clear enough about what you're doing that you're getting people to be part of it, while also not I think AI is much more of an advocacy organization. So Civic Nation is clearly trying to move things in specific directions too, right? And very that I don't think should be partisan, but on the whole, are leaning very
Who
left
is?
right now. But
I didn't hear who you said. Who is?
Civic Nation, where we are, right? Like broadly, as the actual like legal entity, right? But I feel like Ellen, for the most part, has tried to achieve a very kind of balanced set of language that allows more conservative types of institutions, or institutions that are more conservative, who made themselves not be more conservative, but are more conservative states, still feel like they can be part of this and do this and move the needle. And in doing so, help us create a more inclusive democracy without us. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm glad you said it. I think it's like, what words achieve, describe what you're doing, but what words also can mean that, but don't spark. Anyway, I think your points about the, that you were saying about the overall sentences at the top are even more important. I'm curious because I like listened for a second and stepped out and came back. Because I think the empowers and achieve excellence, like, we go kind of like, they're not perfect, right? Like we're trying to, like, initially we were developed only as like an awards program, right? And so something around achieving excellence or something that kind of talks about it in that kind of way, I think is like what we're trying to keep a piece of. I think the empowers, like, you're right, like capacity. What we're doing is, I don't know. Anyway, but I'm curious, the real thing that underlines this for me is the way that we are defining democratic engagement is that saying democratic engagement means civic learning plus political engagement plus voter participation. So that when you see democratic engagement throughout the rest, what we're saying are three things.
Okay.
Does that, like, how does it feel to you?
It feels better to me. Yeah. I mean, to me, learning, right? I mean, the more All In can align with the academic missions of universities, the better for All In and the better for integrating this work into the culture of these universities.
Yeah.
The further away it goes from learning, and and surely with anything, it's not just learning, but the further away from that it goes, the more difficult I think it will be to develop a campus culture around it. Mm-hmm. And so thinking about the learning initiative, of which you can learn by action too, I think is really important framing.
Mm-hmm. But when I tell you that the way we define democratic engagement is as those three things, do you feel like that sentence makes that evident, or it's still? Like, forget the empower and achieve excellence, because we have to fiddle with that. Like,
yeah, I mean, the way the sentence reads, I don't read it as democratic engagement means civic learning, political engagement, and voter participation. The way I read that sentence, if you do those three things, civic learning, political engagement, voter participation, you'll get excellence in democratic engagement.
Okay.
So it still does not clarify what's meant by democratic engagement.
Is there a way you would fiddle with that sentence to say that?
To enhance. I mean, does democratic engagement need to be there? All In Campus Democracy Challenge builds capacity for colleges and universities to enhance civic learning, political engagement, and voter participation. There's a lot of concepts in that sentence right now.
I know.
I think, Jen, too, not to shortcut the conversation at all, but I think that one of the things that's been kind of cross-cutting all of the interviews that we've done is the idea that the tension between packing a lot of meaning into the word